All right, guys, I want to talk about this before I give you a glimpse of some video I took yesterday or whenever I did it, but of some mods I was attempting with this build, which is for my buddy Frank. And things kind of went bad. They went wrong. So, and that's all part of modding. You know, I tried a couple different bezels on here. There's a thick gasket, a thin gasket. So you have to sometimes find the right combination. I had issues with a bad click spring. So I ended up taking some parts out of my build that I'll be doing later and using them in this guy. And I finally got the bezel sorted. But on top of that, I had some issues with the crystal, both coming out and going in. One time, the first time I tried to even put the new sapphire crystal in, I forgot to put the chapter ring in. You have to put the chapter ring in before you do the crystal press in. So like I was pressing the crystal in and I was like, oh, dang it. So I had to pop it back out. Well, in doing so, then you damage the, occasionally you can reuse these guys. This is the gasket for the crystal. But you can see this one's damaged, so I wasn't going to reuse it. So I swiped one from my build that I'm doing, but then when I set the crystal with this gasket, the crystal kind of went in a little bit crooked, and it was bad enough where it was bugging me. There's going to be some acceptable tolerances, I think, because depends on how closely you look at it. I mean, you want it obviously to be perfectly centered, all the way around, but sometimes it can get a little crooked, just very little, and you can damage the gasket, which is obviously, then you're going to have water resistant issues and all that stuff. So, well, I don't have any more crystal gaskets, and I already had like quite an ordeal just dealing with the bezels. So this is where the mod sits. It was just a bad hour-long segment of modding in my little world. So I'm learning as I go, and sometimes learning costs money. So I had to order some more parts. I ordered another click spring because I need it for my build because I used that one on this guy. I ordered a few more crystal gaskets. Plus I have my good friends over at Namoki. I think they're going to help me out with a couple more. And then eventually they'll actually be selling some of these parts that we all are going to need when we're modding. When you're doing crystal, popping them out and pressing them in, sometimes you damage a gasket or you just need a new one for whatever reason. So if you're going to do modding on a regular basis, I would say stock some extra parts. But or at least order in some extra parts when you're ordering the parts to do your build. So it's always wise to do that. So that's all just part of it. So I know this video is probably gonna be long, but now that we've talked about it, I'm gonna show you some of the events leading up to it. I did record some of it, so watch it and take what you want from it. It's all you have to roll with it, and it is a learning experience, and you will get through it. But this is where I've done the video before, where sometimes you get to this point, and what are you going to do? You're going to walk away? No, you're going to spend some more money and some more time, and you're going to keep going. You're going to truck through it until you get it done. So I'll probably have to do it, but normally I put it in a case vise, but we'll see if I can do it without. Oh, it's not crazy tight, so because I don't over torque these things. So, and I was the last one in there, so. All right, probably actually could have been a little bit tighter than it was, but so I'll torque it down a little bit more when I put it back together. I got I ordered up some new Seiko silicone grease too, so. And it's always a good idea before you even do this part is to really scrub down this outside. I really cleaned everything, all the debris, any sort of, dead skin or whatever might have been there, because dirt on the outside has a way of making its way into the inside, so. Once you get the case back off, you have to have the crown unscrewed but pushed in. So, and there's videos of this online, but I'll try to see all that debris and everything laying around. You want to try to minimize all that too, because again, all that stuff has a way of making its way in the inside. So this little lever here, you just push that. I think you can clearly see that. And then the crown will slide right out. So now you want to gently, first of all, get yourself a place to put the movement. I always put it on this pad, and then I put this top of this candle, Yankee candle thing, over it to keep any sort of new foreign contaminants getting in there, which is always a challenge messing around with that stuff. So, okay. I know sometimes this stuff seems like you're being rough on it, but it's usually fine. So, all right. So now the movement's out of the way. I'm going to cover it up, minimize issues with that. So now, all right. So I didn't get it on video, but I rotated the bezel around until I seen or noticed the largest amount of gap possible. I put the belly of the knife down in there and I just gently squeezed. It really did not take that much effort. Now the reason I'm going in this spot right here, because if you look at this case with the spring in there, you don't have the click parts raised up in this section, and you don't have the part where it drops down into the case in this section. So you're minimizing the chances of damaging the click spring or anything like that. So, and I can't remember. Yeah, I think I've had this bezel off, so before. See, and this is where that other tool would be nice right here, because you're doing less potential damage to the case. I really don't want to scratch anything, so. Okay, so once you get it clicked off, there you go. You can see how much debris and everything gets up in there. That's just from regular wear, so that's why a lot of guys will take these apart and clean them. So there's the click spring, and I'm going to clean all this up, of course, give it a really good wipe down, do a full inspection on that crystal gasket. It may or may not be reused. I don't really have any spares, I don't think. But all right, guys, I got it all cleaned up. I just placed it in the press here. I'm just, don't forget to put the click spring back in, obviously, clean that all up. And so now all I'm doing is lining up and trying to get a good clean install on the bezel. Now you can just manually push these on, but I can see it's going to go on an angle anyway, which is fine. Which is pretty much how they probably should go on. But oh, there it goes. So now that guy's on there. Let's take a look. Looks like a really nice tight fit. Looks good on the case. And I over-installed. That thing does not want to move. So that is going to be a problem. Alright guys, so I cut out a bunch of stuff that I've done there. So I'm going to leave some in. Like I did, I guess, over-install, if that's a thing. I've had that happen before. I'm not really sure what causes it. Maybe too much force and it goes past, because there's ledges inside here. But the other thing, it took me a while to get the bezel back off. And maybe I'll share that someday. But even I installed another bezel real quick and then I popped it off. Frank's watch acts like a 60 click, so I'm trying to figure out why that is. And I think it's his spring, maybe? I'm not sure. The way... So this is his spring. So I just don't like the action on it. Here's a... let me pop this one. This is basically a brand new one here. I should probably quit while I'm ahead. Or behind, or whatever the hell I am right now. Sometimes you need to take a break too and just break away, But so here's another one, and so if you look at where the spring clips are, they both catch at the same time. This one, you can just hear it, even operating it with your hands. I can hear it's like a click, click, which is more how you want the Seikos to sound, where this is more of a thud. So I don't know what I'm looking at here as far as the spring. Oh, okay. See how on Frank's here, excuse the nasty fingers, but see how Frank's is bent up more, and this is the factory one? I mean, his is a factory one, but for some reason, it must have got backspun and spun and angled those up too much. So I don't know if that's something I can remedy, or if it's just easier at this point to install a different spring. You know, maybe I'll just throw this one in there and then I'll order one for mine. This was going to go on mine, but so I guess that's what I'll do for now. And I had to clean up the LCBI bezel, because the technique I had to deploy to get it off was slightly violent, but that's okay because there's nothing in there to really damage. You know, I took off all the movement and all that good stuff, so I'm gonna try installing it without the press this time and just do it by hand. So sometimes you can do something to press down on it, or sometimes you can just, you know, use your hand. It already feels like it's on there too far. I'm not getting a consistent install on it here, so